Luang Simplii is one. Luang Simplii Dhammawaro is a 117-year-old monk. This is 2013 now. Who is in the lineage of Luang Man, the great famous Tudong master, and whose amulets are incredibly inconspicuous in the way they avoid announcing them, but are also incredibly meticulously made and incredibly faithful and true to how they adhere to the ancient Vichar. Luang Simplii was born in the year 2439 Buddhist era. He's now 117 years old on the 5th of January 2556. So he's already 117-year-old monk, and he was born in Kampuchea, in Khmer Kingdom, in Ampere Semarad, in Pratapong. When he was born, there was a Yeat which, since the age of 15, seemed to follow him everywhere and appear everywhere he went. And when he reached the age of 15, he ordained as a Samanera, and he learned the Vichar of his Krupa Jan in the Khmer Kingdom until he was 22 years old, and then he became a fully ordained bhikkhu monk. One of the incredible factors of his biography is that he was ordained by Luang Man Purato himself, the great Tudong master, Arahant master, and he learned Vichar with Luang Wan Sujino, another great famous master of the northern Chiang Mai Lana tradition. Just these two first parts of his biography already elevate him to that of an attained master and a luxit of two of the greatest masters of Thai Buddha magic history. These two great monks of historical fame were slightly older than Luang Simplii himself, so they were like big brothers to him and guided him in his first steps as a bhikkhu. He went with these masters and he spent 25 years learning in Kampuchea in Pa Khao Sam Yod, the three-peaked, cliffed mountain temple of Kampuchea, and he learned and practiced Dhamma until he was of the adept level. This was, of course, still earlier on in his trajectory when we now look at him in his 117th year. So much this monk has practiced and seen, and so many great masters has he had the luck and the great fortune to practice under and receive their Vichar. As he was practicing Dhamma in this period, it appears that Luang Simplii achieved the completion and the mastery of the Vichar Parit Lok, the opening of the world's Vichar. This is a Vichar which allows you to see and know things which are invisible to normal humans. After this, Luang travelled to the Indian continent, where he learned English up until about the primary school or secondary school level at Wat Yanava in India. He stayed there for about 7 years, after which he came back to Thailand. In Thailand, he then became the builder of the temple of the Prasad Khao Phanom Rong in Pakon Chai, Buriram, and he has now the position of the abbot of this temple, which he has been building for the last 23 years. And he is a Prat Maha because of this. He then let Prat Maha Sawai become the Luang Po Sawai become the abbot in his stead of this temple. Luang Po then returned to his Tudong practice of wandering through the forests and wandering around Thailand in solitude, and became a Tewatut, meaning he was a preacher around the country. And the Sankaraja monk, who is the head monk of the palace and the head monk of all monks of Thailand, gave him the honorable name of respect, for Luang Po can speak many languages but did never learn to read in his own language, and cannot read but can speak very many languages. Luang Po then went to stay at Wat Khao Sukin for some years, whereafter he built a forest temple of the Wat Pa, which is officially known as Wat Pa Vichai Ruam Mit, and it's in Ampere Tha Saat in Loi province. That was since 2546 BE, which is 10 years ago now, right up to the present day. The amulets and Buddhanussati images he makes in this edition have been made to raise funds to build a Sala Pratyai, which is basically a shrine, a roofed shrine, to put a very large Buddha image in, which has to spend quite a lot of money on because the Buddha image is very large. Luang Po says that who will help by buying the amulets of this edition for him to build this Sala to protect the Buddha image will not only receive Chok Lap, Mahalap and prosperity, but will also have great safety and will have a very long life free from dangerous illnesses or deadly illnesses, and will live a long and healthy life as a result of the merits. Although Luang Po is already 117 years old, every year his mind power and his psychic ability seems to strengthen, not weaken. Since in his early 90s he began, about the age of 95, to speak with the Puta and the spirits of the Jetapum world, his body began to look younger and he got fitter, and he now looks younger than he did 10 years ago. Currently they say he walks around as if he was 50 years old, but he is 117 years old. He has made this edition and named it Run Perm Wasana Maharui Ning 117 Pi Sek 5 Duen, which means the edition which will increase your lucky fortunes and wealth and for 117 years in your family lineage, bloodline, and has been empowered every day, every night with incantations for 5 months continuously. In this edition there was a takrut which was to help the tendons in the hand and to heal problems in the hand, which was made from silver and it was hand inscribed. It was the Takrut Simplii Run Tham, the 3rd edition. It is filled with sacred powders which have the ability to increase your libido and bring your health back to normal. 999 of them were made. Then there was the Luke Om Re Lek Nam Pi, which is a sacred powder ball made from Lek Nam Pi, Lek Lai related substance which has been powdered, and they were pressed by the hand of Luang Pa himself, rolled into balls of powder, each one with incantations. Then they were covered in gold leaf and had a piece of Jivara robe from Luang Pa's robe stuck onto them. Then there was also in this edition a Takrut Miamak. Miamak means lots of wives. So a Takrut scroll spell that's called the Takrut Miamak Upasampa Marum Matum. Upasampa Marum Matum means really good commerce, very good for marketeers, salesmen, but also good for the love life. Of those, there were only 610 made. Then there were some locket of the 9-tailed fox lockets, of which there were just 52 special lockets made, only 52 made. Then some Lek Lai, that is an elemental relative of Lek Lai, which is a sacred rikatat, a relic, was also released, called Relek Lai Barami Bab Hoi Ka, already prepared for hanging around your neck. So they already prepared it, you don't need to find a pendant attacher or anything. And some very, very special kunpain amulets were also made, of which there were 4 or 5 different models made. Some of them were only handed out at the ceremony of the Buddha Abhiseka, the Buddha Abhiseka, the opening of the eyes of the Buddha. And there was an Onkru version of which very, very few were made, which was also very expensive and full of very expensive muansan, which I am still seeking. The one below that, which was the second, the Pimbi Onkru, we managed to find, and you can find on BuddhistAmulet.net. I will continue in part 2 about Luang Pu Simplii when I begin to explain his amulets, which will begin with the Luk Om of sacred powder ball with Lek Lai powders in it. This is Ajahn Spencer for BuddhistAmulet.net and Amulets TV, signing off, wishing you health, wealth, lots of happiness, constantly, during a long, long life.